Where's the crash site now?
Over there. We're getting closer.
Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again, introducing you to the final level of my Enslaved hard difficulty video walkthrough. And this is chapter 14, The Pyramid. And at the end of this you will get the answers, or you will get some surprises that I totally was not expecting, as to exactly why this world is in the state it's in. It may not be the answers that you're looking for, but it's something. So the start of this, you're going to be shooting off the... I don't even know what these leeches are, but shoot them, and you will continue through the level. And there's combat interspersed with platforming, interspersed with more platforming. And what's going to be happening is the platforming all has fire, it all has environmental hazards to try and, strip away your life. So I would definitely say be as careful on the platforming as you can, because it is easily the hardest part of this last level. The combat is very simple, and then there is the final boss. But I'm not going to be doing too much talking about the final boss till the end, because there's no real point in mentioning a lot of this shit that's kicking off, because it's what we've been doing for the entire game. It's what you've been doing, for far too long. So I'm sure you've figured out your own strategies, and you don't need me spoon feeding. Swing your staff here, do this, do that, jump twice, block with your face, take damage, repeat. You don't need that. So instead, I'm going to continue the conversation I was having in the last video, so that I can, stick with some kind of continuity. And I was talking about the high-definition remakes that are going to be getting thrown onto the PS3 and the PS Vita. Or Vita, as it's pronounced. Should I say Vita? Sounds ridiculous. Sounds like revitalize, like the stupid water or the oil of Olay cream for your mother's face to get rid of those wrinkles. No, the PlayStation 3's got some good shit coming its way, and I actually found out the other day that the American marketplace, just like on Xbox, has different shit than we do in Europe or UK or wherever the hell that my region's classed as. And it's pissed me off to high heaven, because on the Xbox, you're not missing out on much. The only thing you're missing out on is a couple of free games where you can get maybe 200 achievement points, and a lot of them are a piece of shit, if I'm honest, but like Aegis Wings was pretty cool, and that's about it. But you're not missing out on too much. On the PlayStation, completely different story. They've got games on demand, they've got all sorts of this kind of... Well, not games on demand. I don't know what it's called on the PlayStation, because it all looks so fucking weird, but they've got, where you can buy the games, and they've got completely different lineups. They have Suikoden, and for a lot of people, you're probably like, Suiko what? And my accent's probably not helping the pronunciation of the game, but Suikoden is an awesome, legendary, and extremely rare RPG that was out for the original PlayStation. And it's one of the... I've not actually played the first one, so I can't really tell you too much about it, but I played the second one, and the second one is one of the best RPGs I've ever played, and they are really in-depth RPGs that generally have a political/military plot where you'll play some unassuming soldier that somehow gets brought into this wider conflict, and you end up amassing an army and taking down an empire type of thing. And you can get 107 playable characters, so this is an RPG, and at any one given time I think you can have 6 people in your squad when you attack, and you've got like 2 rows of them doing all sorts of crazy magic spells, and it's all hand-drawn sprites that look fucking awesome for the time, and just a cool story and cool combat, and 107 playable characters is ridiculous for an RPG. And half of the time you won't even find half of the characters. I don't think you can have all 107 at the same time. But the game is probably brilliant. The second one is fucking amazing, and you can get this for like five quid off of the PlayStation American marketplace, and it's not even on the European one. So I am heavily pissed off at this fact, because I wanted to play that game forever, and I don't want to pay 100 quid on eBay to buy a PlayStation 1 game that's probably not going to work. And the loading, that's the thing. What we conveniently forget is old games loaded like motherfuckers. They took forever. So you go back with this, faded nostalgia of how good these games were, and then you hit a loading screen and you're like, Jesus Christ. Come on, PlayStation, use those battery motors, those hamster-driven wheels of energy. Get me the screen, please, I hate the blackness. And it still doesn't load, it takes like 10 fucking minutes, it's horrific. So, on the PlayStation 3, I'm assuming all that stuff will be optimized and it'll be beast, but I can't even look at the fucking thing, 'cause it doesn't exist on my marketplace. And then there's another RPG that I search for in bargain bins and in other goddamn, game stores, all throughout my teenage years, called Xenogears, which is another Square Soft or Square Enix game that is extremely rare and apparently really iconic and awesome, and that's going to be released, and it's probably going to get the similar treatment. So I'm like a pregnant woman who cannot get her fucking munchies on. It's just not cool, man. Not cool. But back to the positive things that are going to be coming, and I hope they're going to be coming to my bloody country, because if they don't, I'm going to start, you know, blowing some shit up and making some terrorist demands, because this shit ain't cool, man. You're stopping me from getting the games I love to play. But the other games that have been announced are obviously the Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3 high-definition remakes. So Devil May Cry 1 and 3 I will be getting, I will be making guides to, and I will be positively devouring, because I love the games. I have probably over 100 hours spent on both of them on the PlayStation 2. They are absolutely brilliant. I'm not going near the second one, it's a piece of shit. I hate it. And I can't wait for them. They're going to be terrific. I don't know what the achievements are going to be like. They're either going to be really fun or really cruel, and yeah, it's going to sink a lot of time into it. The next thing that's been announced is obviously the Metal Gear Solid ones, high-definition remakes. I don't know which ones they're on about. I think it's just Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3, but I suppose they could do Twin Snakes, which was the GameCube remake of the first Metal Gear, which was fantastic, aside from the change to the boss music, which pissed me off. But I'm going to be getting them. I'm hopefully going to be doing Extreme guides for them, because I remember playing those games on Extreme when I was, you know, 15, 16, maybe a little bit younger, and they kicked my ass. I didn't beat them. I think I beat Metal Gear Solid 2 on very hard, and I thought I was a god, and I can't even imagine what the game's like on an Extreme. And if you were from Europe, you got European Extreme, which was even harder, and I can remember I only did the tanker on European Extreme back in the day, but killing Olga on the tanker took me about 3 weeks. So when people ask me, you know, what are the hardest games I've ever played, or how did I do something so quickly, or that they thought was really difficult, Metal Gear Solid fucking 2, European Extreme answers every one of those questions, because that shit was hard. This bit here, you're going to get attacked by a lot of robots. There is tons of plasma ammo, so just shoot them with your rod, or fight them mono a mono. It's all dependent on how you like to play. It's not very challenging if you've got good at the combat. If you haven't, good luck. Try and follow some of the strategies I've been telling you throughout the game. But yeah, the high definition remakes, cannot wait for the Metal Gear series. Konami's also announced the Zone of the Enders games, and if I'm completely honest, I didn't like the first Zone of the Enders. I thought it was a pile of shit, and it's all because you had to fly between levels and it took 20 minutes. It was like a fucking flight simulator, and I didn't like it at all. But Zone of the Enders Second Runner, now there's a completely different game. That is probably my all-time favourite PlayStation 2 game. It's not perfect by any means, it has its flaws, but I was in love with that game. I bought a PlayStation 2 for that game because I was just borrowing my friends to play other stuff, and I can honestly say when the demo came out in the PlayStation magazine that I bought, it enabled you to do the entire start of the game all the way up to where you fight Anubis and he kicks your ass because he can zero shift. Which, for anybody that doesn't know, it was a bit of a snowy level where you got to shoot a load of stuff. There was a snow boss, then you went onto a ship, you got to beat up a couple more things, then there was a boss against, I think it was, is it Nepete? Or Neath, whatever she were called, the Viola off the first Zone of the Enders. And it was an AI though, it's completely different, you know. There's a lot of storyline here that I'm skimming over, but it doesn't matter. And then you took on Anubis and he kicked your ass. And that demo was maybe an hour long. If you let it last, you could probably do it in about 15 minutes if you went exactly where you needed to be. I think I played that demo every day, all day, for about 6 weeks while I was at college. And I did the same to the Metal Gear Solid 2 one that let you play the tanker. And I can't even tell you how much time I invested in those games, because back then there was none of this playing online unless you had a PC and you'd PC gamed, and I didn't do any of that shit, so it was all about single player, and I was an addictive gamer. I was almost obsessive compulsive when I started getting into things. I'm actually a hell of a lot more relaxed now. I've got a little bit older, but back in the day I was a psychopath. And I'm not trying to big myself up or anything, it's just fact. I played an unhealthy amount of games, and I still do, but back then it was even worse. It truly was. But I should probably talk about this encounter now, because what's going to happen is once you get up to the helm, you'll see the giant metallic scorpion, very reminiscent of the Black Widow thing off of Final Fantasy VIII. You know, the really tough boss at the start on the seed test. And what's going to happen is you'll go up to those icons that have the Tripp logo on them, and then it'll show you that this scorpion has weak points that glow yellow. And what you do is you shoot the weak points with your staff, destroy them as quick as they can. They only take about one shot, but they can be hard to shoot because the scorpion moves around and the platform you're on moves a little bit too. And when you shoot them, you'll have to do some platforming to go and finish them off. And every time that you do this successfully, a bunch of enemies will spawn behind you because they try and interrupt you from going to get the next part of the scorpion's body. And what will happen is, you destroy the 3 power points on his left arm, you destroy the 3 power points on his right arm, and then you destroy the ones on his tail, and he's dead. But it does take a little longer than that because it's kind of contrived and they've stretched it out a little bit, and there's this platforming stuff that you have to do. But just keep watching, you know, just keep following what I'm doing. It's all very self-explanatory, very easy. This is not a challenging last boss. This is not quite Deus Ex easy, but it's still pretty easy. And just take your time, pick your shots, and shoot the arms. So you'll notice that I play on the high sensitivity on this game, and I do miss a lot of my plasma shots. It is moving too. The best time to hit it is when it stops moving, obviously, but there is a feel for it 'cause it definitely moves around quite a lot. And one of the gay things is you can have it bang on the target, but if your reticle is white, it will still not count as a hit, which is kind of crappy, but it's one of those things you get used to. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but my sinuses are playing up because for some reason my nose is running, my throat is filling with sludge. It is not fun, so if you've noticed a couple of artifacts in the recording of the commentaries, it means that I've paused it because I had to sneeze or something. And sometimes, because my laptop isn't the fastest machine on the market, it doesn't fully process what I was saying, so it'll cut it off midway through. So if you ever hear me go to say a word and then be like, and then carry on saying something different, that means that it's cut it off and there's been a pause. So just pulled the curtain back and showed you, you know, some of the tricks to the magic show. But there is a lot of cutscenes, like little vignettes that show you what's happening and the developments with this scorpion as he takes on this giant machine you're riding. And it makes this a lot longer than it should be. This is actually a 21-minute long video, so this is a long-ass video, one of the longest I've uploaded in a long time. But it's also an old video because I've had it on my hard drive a while. Anyhow, back to something interesting as I take a swig of water to cleanse my dry palate. There we go. Delicious. Can't wait till I start getting some sponsorships or start saying some really corny things like Seraphim 17, sponsored by Vagisil. The only cream to get rid of that chafy feeling. No. But the last announcement that gets me excited was from Square Enix, and it was nothing to do with Final Fantasy 13-2 or, you know, fucking Final Fantasy 13 Versus or Gito or all those stupid things that they've mentioned, because I am an old school Final Fantasy fan, which translates to I didn't like 12 very much, I didn't like 13 at all, probably the worst game I've ever played, and I didn't play 11 because it was an MMO, and MMOs are the digital devil. So I pretty much count everything after 10 as a failure. Even though 10-2 was silly and enjoyable, it still wasn't what I like out of Final Fantasies. But Square Enix have announced a high-definition remake of Final Fantasy X, and there is a hell of a lot of people like, what the fuck, man? Because they wanted 7, they wanted 8, they wanted 9, but I don't know. 10 is a fantastic game. It is not my favourite Final Fantasy, but it's probably the one I've put the most time into, because if you want to 100% that game, and it is extremely difficult to do that, you will put and invest so much time into that, because you can play 60 hours worth of Blitzball. You can put 60 hours in catching the monsters for the Monsters Arena, and that's before you've even beaten them. And if you take on the Dark Aeons, you have to max your stats out to even stand a chance, which takes a hell of a long time. So you will put a lot of time into this game, and for me that is just, you know, dollar signs. That is, give me the game, I will pay anything. I love Final Fantasy X, and it's an excuse to make a guide for it. And I've been saying in other commentaries that I'm probably going to go back and do some kind of playthroughs with live commentaries of the old Final Fantasy games, because I love them so much. If they keep releasing high definition remakes, it's a good excuse to go back and make a guide. And I have beaten Final Fantasy X maybe 4 or 5 times. I've got 3 different save files where I've got, you know, all my characters maxed, all the equipment type of thing, where I've taken on penance. I've actually made, you know, characters strong enough and super setups so that I can take on penance and beat him in less than 5 hours, which it takes, and all sorts of ridiculous runs like that. So I'm super stoked to be able to play it with high definition, and to put it up on my YouTube channel, because it'll be an absolute pleasure for me, and hopefully If you've never heard of the game or you're not a Final Fantasy fan, I'll be able to convert you. And if you are a Final Fantasy fan, you're probably going to enjoy it just as much as I am. So, super stoked for that. But this is the second bout of platforming. That means you're 2/3 through the battle. When you get up here, all you have to do is shoot his other arm. So get out your staff and start lasing him. Hopefully I'll be a little bit more diligent this time. You see, now I've got the rhythm to it. I notice when he's going to stop before he moves, and then I just take him out. So there you go. A flawless run of cleaning up his right arm, or his left arm for him. And then what's going to happen here is you're going to jump down once again, which you have to do quickly before you get blown up, because he does do a big laser beam that takes out the pipes you're on, so you need to run. So as soon as you're back in control, just keep bashing the platforming and get off as quickly as you can, the way you came. And I think it's going to spawn some more guys to fight, and then it's literally the last section of the battle with the boss, where you have to take on his tail. And I didn't actually know if there was going to be an epic last boss to this, and this is kind of epic because you're on top of this massive thing, trawling through a desert, going towards a giant glowing pyramid. You have no idea what the pyramid is, what it means, what its significance is, and when you get there, it's just like that what the fuck kind of moment where you just... It's such an interesting twist. There's probably a lot of people that are going to be like, that was shit, it made no sense, it was just dumb, I wanted Monkey to proper bang Tripp and everybody ride into the sunset. And I think this game would have sucked if it had that kind of ending. This way it leaves it on a much more subjective piece of you know, game making and filmmaking in essence, because this is the story, it's told through cutscenes, and it's so different. It's it really is. It just comes out of nowhere. It's like that boomerang that cut that dude's fingers off in Mad Max when he tried to catch it like a dumbass. It just comes out of nowhere. But there's its leg, and there you go. You shoot its leg, and what will happen is it falls down the left side of the machine, and you can't actually shoot at it unless you climb down there. So that is the final part of the fight. And I'm getting dry again, guys. I do apologise. I'm just going to have to take a quick sip. But another fight here, and this is with a shield guy and 2 of the electricity guys. 2 of them will do quick time events if you beat them up, 1 of them will not. So you've just got to be careful. I'm getting my ass handed to me now, and the reason for it is that the electric guys, if they come close to you, they are very eager to do that combo that they keep hitting me with. And if they get any distance, they will gladly fire a projectile at you, so you need to be careful. And look at that, I'm as close to dying as I've probably ever been in this guide. So just try and be a little bit more careful than I was just then. The luxury is, once you've killed these robots, it's pretty much the last conflict of the level. All you need to do is shoot the boss's leg to make it fall off, and you've beat the game. So clean up those guys, like I just did. Now, shoot his left leg. This will make him fall further down onto the side of the platform. Oh, that's what it is, sorry. The last sore spot on his body, the last weakness, is at the back of him, so you need to climb down the pipes and get to this low angle to hit it. But don't worry, you're not timed. There's no real challenge to this. It's very simple, so just follow the platforming, shoot his sore spot, and get ready for the random ending. This can be an awkward shot as well. I got it the first time then, but on my first run through of the game on hard, I shot at it maybe 5 or 6 times and I got no luck whatsoever. So if you do miss, if it does get a little bit frustrating, it's just down to a little bit of bad game design as far as the hit detection goes, and a little bit of the factor that this thing is moving. There's a lot of, you know, shakiness and what have you. But this is it. This is the final section now. You have to shoot the 3 sore spots on its tail, and then you have to do the quick time event to finish it off. But once you've hit the back one, this one is simple. This one is very easy, very, very functional. And you'll notice I've got it on the aimer, but it's not going red because it's a really weak angle down here. But I'm stubborn. I'm going to try. I'm going to see if I can cheese it. But I'll probably just end up climbing back up. There I go. So instead of messing about like I did, climb back up and get the job done like a man. And for anybody that's that watches a YouTube commentator by the name of El Presidor, who needs no introductions, you will really understand the connotation of like a man, because that dude says it like a beast. But oh, there is a little bit more conflict on the top of here. I tell a lie. There is a red guy, and there's probably going to be another one. Maybe not. And you'll notice I wasn't in the mood for fighting him, so I just shot him in the face a few times and there was nothing he could do. He had no answer for it. There's the vignette of the cannon going crazy, and I think you have to go near it and press a button. You might not. I think Monkey might just go nuts. Yeah, I think he does. He just goes crazy, and he runs up and starts laying waste to the giant machine. But this is the end of my Enslaved guide. I've got to apologise for how long it's taken for it to all get up. It's purely because it's not been getting the highest amount of views. It's not the highest priority of guides, just like the Portal 2 Co-op guide that I have recorded that I haven't uploaded. That will be coming. When it comes, I don't know. It's entirely up to, you know, the slow period in my channel. And because of Gears of War, you know, Uncharted 3, bloody Modern Warfare 3, Battlefield 3, it's just this trio of games, you know, these threes that are going to be taking up a lot of my time on top of university, so that you might not be seeing it too soon, but hopefully I'll get it up when I can. The next guide I will be recording is going to be Gears of War 3. The next guide you'll be seeing will be Red Faction Armageddon, because I'm going to try and get as much of that up as I can before Gears comes out. But note, when Gears comes out, there will be no focus on Red Faction. It will all be Gears until I get it up, because that is going to be another one of those epiphany moments for my channel. I can't wait for it. But congratulations, you've just beaten Enslaved on hard. You should get 3 achievements. There's the first 2. The last one is something about being a Sage of the Heavens, and it's worth 100G. Monkey Magic, there's another one. I think that's one for doing it on normal. And then the final one, Great Sage Equal of Heaven. There you go, guys. I hope it helped, and you take care now.